Hello. Hi, guys. We have a nice book for you. Greetings from Sandy Beach by Bob Graham. A humorist, Bob Graham. A humorist who wrote a nice children's book here. Greetings from Sandy Beach. Bob Graham. There were plenty of tears at the start of our holiday. Dad cried about leaving our dog. Mom cried about leaving Grandma and Granddad. There's Dad. He's crying about leaving the dog. Mom is crying about leaving Granddad. And Gerald cried because he'd been awake all night, overexcited and couldn't sleep. Here's Gerald. I cried because everyone else was crying, and we were only going for 2 days. This is the narrator, the kid here. It was better when we got going. Dad dabbed at his nose for a while with wet paper tissues. There's Dad dabbing at his nose. Mom started on the toffees before we even left our streets. There's Mom giving out the toffees. Gerald went straight to sleep with his mouth open. And there is Bob with his tape recorder. And I put my headphones on and listened to my tape, the best of the heartbeats. Here's Gerald sleeping. There's Bob listening to his tape recorder. The trip took forever. Nothing much happened on the way, except a girl in a bus stuck her tongue out at me. Here's the girl in the bus sticking her tongue out at him. See that? Mom and Dad sang songs I didn't know, and Gerald threw up. Here's the car, and here's the bus with the kids. Here's the girl sticking her tongue out. At the campsite, things picked up. There were people on motorbikes. They were called the Disciples of Death. Dad didn't like the looks of them. Here's the Disciples of Death. Here's Dad and Mom. Dad didn't like the looks of them. Don't go near them, said my dad. Stay away from them, Gerald, said my mom. Here's the Disciples of Death. Right here. They had a dog with goggles that rode up on the petrol tank. It was the best thing I ever saw in my life. Here's the dog with the goggles that rode up on the petrol tank. Here he is. That was the best thing he ever saw in his life. Then the kids in the bus arrived. Must be some kind of school outing, my dad said. My mom was walking around with toffee papers stuck on her seat. Here's Mom. Here's the kids getting out. Here's the kids getting out. Here's the girl with the tongue. You see? Here we go. Gerald sat in the stand playing with his plastic charging rhino. There's Gerald. And that girl stuck her tongue out at me again. Then we put the tent up. Here's the girl. It looks like it's not love at first sight. Looks a little bit like the opposite over here with the girl and him. Oh, look, here's a little kids. Looks like they're fighting. At least we tried to put the tent up. It looks like they're having a hard time putting the tent up. Dad couldn't figure it out. Although Mom got her bit up. Mom got her part up. Dad was having a hard time. There are the disciples over there seeing that they're having a hard time, you see. And I looked after Gerald, who kept wandering off. Here he is, looking after Gerald. The disciples finally showed us how, and Dad looked nervous and smiled at them a lot. The disciples were showing them, they took over and they showed them how to do it. Let's take a break for a second. Okay, now, we didn't go straight into the water. Dad wanted to enjoy the sun. "We've got the beach to ourselves," he said. Here they are. They thought they had the beach to themselves, but look, they're on the lower level of an overhang here. And here are the kids coming. And here comes, look who's coming here. "It's so peaceful here," my mom kept saying. Here's the mom. She's saying how peaceful it is. Gerald was happy enough, just blobbing around in the sands. And look, one of the kids is jumping off the cliff. Let's see who it is. The girl from the bus fell right out of the sky onto Dad. He wasn't too pleased. "You've got the whole beach," he said, "and you land on me." That's that girl that was sticking her tongue out. So we shared the beach with the school kids. They played a Cowboys getting shot game to see how far they could roll. I joined in. Here he is. He's saying, "They got me." It was just like the cowboys in the films. High dives from the tops of buildings into the dusty street. I won. The girl with the tongue was quite impressed. So were the disciples of death. Here, the girl with the tongue looks like she's very impressed. So the disciples of death also, they're pretty impressed with him. This looks like it might be Gerald over here. That's Gerald. Oh, we got a lot of different things here to see. We shared the water with the school kids, too. Dad washed off the sand that had fallen out of the sky and stuck to his sunburn oil. Here's Dad washing the sand off. Mom played puddles with Gerald. I stood away. There's Mom playing puddles with Gerald. I stood away from them a bit. I am embarrassed by my parents when other kids are around. I don't know why. Here, this is the girl. The girl that stuck her tongue out originally. She's coming toward Bob. The school kids went back for lunch. The school kids went back for lunch with their teachers. Fancy seeing your teacher in just a pair of flowery shorts. That looks like the teacher, I guess. There's a pair of flowery shorts. There's the disciples of death right here. Disciples of death. And here's Dad washing off. And Dad and I made a mermaid. There he is. Dad and Bob made a mermaid. Here, look, they're making some kind of a hole. Mom wrote Gerald's name in the sand. Not with a stick, with Gerald. Look, she pulled Gerald, and she's writing Gerald's name in the sand. Gerald. You see that? We camped that night in the tent. Dad cooked the dinner. Camp stew out of a tin. Mom and Dad played word games with little wooden squares. That's Scrabble. There was a lot of shrieking from the school camp. Gerald went straight to sleep, very pink from the sun. So did I. Here are the kids, right over here. Here are the kids. These look like the disciples of death over here, you see? There they are. Next day we played boats in the rock pool with some ice cream sticks from the disciples. Here they're letting the ice cream sticks. We buried Mom in the sand. Dad caught a rather small fish, and Gerald ate something disgusting from his fishing basket. And we slept our second night in the tent. That's the second night. The disciples are going and playing the guitar. In the morning, we all packed up. The lady disciple bought us a raspberry ice pop each. There's the lady disciple. She bought them all a raspberry. The tongue girl gave me a souvenir shell with the name of the camping park on it. And the biggest bikie sat Gerald right up on the petrol tank. Here's the tongue girl giving him the souvenir. There she is, and there he is. They all passed us on the way home. First the bus, then the disciples with their little white dog, his hair streaming in the wind. They were all right, really, said my dad. Once he got to know them, he added a bit further down the road. There was still a slight smell of old fish about Gerald. Dad held him at arm's length. Let's get Gerald into the bath, my mom said. It was quite a while back now, but I've still got the icy pop sticks and the shell. Souvenirs, I guess. Greetings from Sandy Beach.